Hello and welcome to the Jet Report on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Slow news day, right? I don't know what the hell we're going to get into today. Oh, my heavens to Betsy. We have some things to get into first and foremost. Remember, super chats jump the line. So if you want your question answered, send in a super chat. It'll jump right up to the front. You could join the channel as a member, hit the join button down below. And if you want, after the fact, this is also available in podcast form. So you can get that on Apple, Spotify, wherever. Subscribe there, subscribe here on YouTube. I appreciate all the love and support there. All right. So Zach Wilson to the bench, Mike White in. Yesterday, there was some pretty big news, or no, I guess on a Monday. Sorry, it's going quick. On Monday, Robert Saleh said that they were going to take everything into consideration this week, and it was no guarantee that Zach Wilson was going to start. So we covered that. And then this morning on Just Jets, I went through all the different scenarios on what the Jets could do if they wanted to start Zach Wilson, if they wanted to start Mike White, Flacco, Strevler. We went down the line. Then around 11 o'clock, roughly around that time, we get the news that Robert Saleh is benching Zach Wilson. And it was a little bit before we found out who was going to take over as the starter on Sunday. And that it was going to end up being Mike White who gets to start. But what I wanted to do, and bear with me because it's a little bit of a longer clip, but I wanted to play the video of Robert Saleh at the press conference today because I loved his answer that he gave about Zach Wilson.
So the big thing I want to make sure I address on this one, just want to make sure you guys all listen to this very carefully, please. Zach's career here is not over. I know that's going to be the narrative. I know that's what everybody wants to shout out, and that's not even close to the case. The intent, the full intent, is to make sure Zach gets back on the football field at some point this year. When that is, I'll make that decision. I'm going to take it day to day. The biggest thing with Zach, and the same things that we've talked about, is the young man needs a reset. His decision-making's been fine. His practice habits, all that stuff have been fine, but there's some basic fundamental things that have gotten really out of whack for him. And this is just an opportunity for him to sit back, focus on those things, find a way to get reconnect to all the different things that we fell in love with during the draft process. And it's something that I feel like he's going to be able to do. I think to ask him to do all those things while preparing for a game is unfair. But at the same time, it's something, just talking with Zach, that I think we're all excited to attack. And this is, like I said, is it a small step back? Absolutely, for him. But do I think it's going to be a great leap forward when he does get a chance to reset himself? Absolutely. And so this is not putting a nail in his coffin. This is not that. It's not even close to that. But I do believe at the end of this is going to be a rejuvenated, renewed young man that once he reconnects to all the different things that we're trying to reconnect to, he's going to show why he was the second pick.
There we go. I like that answer. No matter what happens with the quarterback situation with Zach Wilson, if they go back to him, with Mike White, with Flacco, whatever the case, if they have a new quarterback or not, that does not matter. Robert Saleh is the right guy for the job. I was truly, truly impressed with how Robert Saleh handled the team, handled himself, and everything through this situation. And look, after having they had 2 yards of offense in the second half of that game against New England. Now, I thought that this could have been used as like the Zach wake-up call and like he's on thin ice and maybe short leash, but they decided to sit him down. And for the reasoning that he explains in this video, it's hard to argue. I mean, if you watch on the film, especially in the games against the Patriots, he is missing wide open reads. The footwork is out of whack. And if that's really the intention, who knows? Maybe Zach sits for a couple weeks, 2, 3 games, and then comes back and plays the final 4 or 5 games and gets back on track, and that's it. Or maybe Mike White plays so well that they don't go back to him. The moral of the story is they needed something to change, and based on the answers in the post game after that loss to New England, I think was like the final thing. I think Saleh needed to do something. He addressed it. He addressed it on Monday with that they were taking everything into consideration, and with this benching, this is different. This is not what we're used to seeing from Robert Saleh. with Zach Wilson. He's very much so been in Zach's corner throughout this whole process, and I still think he is in Zach's corner. It doesn't sound like a guy who is all the way out on his quarterback, and who knows? It's going to be all dependent on one, how Mike White plays in not only this game but going forward, and how the team is doing. There's so many factors here, and he is really taking the entire team into consideration with this. So I tip my cap to him. I think he's handled this well. As for Mike White, he is going up against one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL in the Chicago Bears. So if he comes in and is able to execute the little things, then I think the Jets offense should be fine. Again, I don't think they're going to score, 40 points or anything in this game, but that's with this defense, they don't need to do that. If they get over 20 points and are somewhere in the mid 20s, that should be enough to win this game. And we'll see what Mike White does. It was very obvious that after they bumped Mike White up to quarterback 2 a few weeks ago, that if there was going to be some sort of switch, they would go back to Mike White. Now, if I understood the arguments for Strevler, I understood the arguments for Flacco in the podcast earlier today on Just Jets. I laid out the kind of the pros and cons and the whole 9 yards about this, but I get it. I absolutely get it. And something needed to change, and something is changing. So on to the Chicago Bears. It should make for an interesting storyline, and we'll see. I think Mike White can come in and play well against this Bears defense, and then after that, he has 2 tougher tasks against Minnesota and Buffalo. But we'll see what happens this upcoming week. It's a little crazy that it's come to this, but they needed to do something, and they decided to go this direction. And as I said earlier in the week, I trust what Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh think about this team. I think they've hit all the right buttons so far, and there's no doubt in my mind that this is going to be the right one as well. Mike Muller jumps in and says, the real question is who's QB2 now? Zach Wilson will not dress on Sunday, so Joe Flacco will be the de facto number 2 quarterback for the time being, and we'll see. We'll see what happens beyond that. Ryan Thompson says, competent HC and GM, thank God. It feels that way. I think every Jet fan has the right or has the ability to react that way, and for good reason. Salad W. Common Salad W. Gase could never. There we go. Absolutely crushed that press meeting, my head coach. Yeah, he did. I think he did a really good job. Phil Adams, what's going on, man? He says, good move for all concerned. The first big crossroads for Zach Wilson. If he's the right man for the Jets, he'll learn from this and come back stronger. Yep. It's really how he responds to this is going to be telling. If this knocks him off his high horse, he gets humbled, comes back, works hard, and plays well, that's a really good sign. It's guys have been benched in the past and come back and been able to, turn into the guy. If he spirals, well, then you have everything you need to know. Indiana says Zach Wilson has played his last snap for the Jets. I don't know if I buy that, but we'll see what Mike White does. Ray says this is why Elijah went rogue. He saw early on that Zach is not it. How long is Mike LaFleur going to escape the axe? I don't see why he would be on the chopping block when guys are open and the quarterback's not hitting him. So VR Hidalgo says Garrett Wilson early in the year made a comment about Zach throwing a different ball than Joe Flacco. Now I know he was just being nice. Yeah, Ray Bud says OC is not perfect by any means, but Zach just wasn't seeing the field and pulling the right trigger. Exactly. It's especially in the New England game, in both New England games. I don't think LaFleur was at his best, but that is he is very far down on the list of issues with it was really more about how Zach was playing and not trusting himself. It's a confidence and mental thing. And that's what Salah said in the video today. So they'll see if he gets it straightened out. If he does, great. He'll go back in. If not, they have Mike White or Joe Flacco. Drug Monkey RX says this is the best move for the kid. He was clearly lost and was hurting the team more than helping it. If he can come back from this, he'll be a much better player. That's my feeling as well. My overhead camera is lagging. That's annoying. Kurt Warner exposed MLFs. Should he play concepts that constantly hang Zach out to dry? But we'll just ignore that. It's Zach's fault. Let's ruin him and save Mike's job. It's not that simple. Ronnie from New Jersey, what's up, man? He goes, trying to explain this all to Johnny Ice Cream wasn't easy. Ronnie, hopefully he was able to get it, and I hope he gets his ice cream on Sunday. Thanks for hanging with us, Ronnie. We got Mike White GOAT, Mike White season. That was see, Indiana, this is something that was again taken out of context from the beat. Shocking, right? The full quote was, hang on, please hold. I believe it was Jamie. Yes, Jamie Stewart had it. He retweeted it. This is the full quote. Robert Saleh on Zach Wilson's reaction when he told him what you would expect from a player. It's like, why now? Why me? I want to play. Obviously, you expect that after a great conversation. I think we're on the same page. While as some other folks decided to just tweet this part, which it was Robert Saleh paraphrasing. So the media did the media thing. Mike White, 250 plus yards, 3 touchdowns. Moore gets 6 catches for 102 touchdowns. I hope so for Elijah Moore's case. That would be fantastic. That'd be great. I don't think they're going to have Mike White throw that much, but would it surprise me against a defense this bad? No. MM Morris is pissed. He says it's insanity. JK says, how are we the only franchise in history to have a quarterback controversy at 6-4? Why? God, why do you do this to us? Stuff. We'll see what happens over the next little bit here. Jacob Rush says the Mike White game needs to be an annual tradition. I think the real test for Mike White will be the Vikings and Bills. Yep. I expect Mike White to play pretty well this week because I thought whoever was going to play quarterback for the Jets, whether it be White, Flacco, Wilson, I thought they could all play and put up some decent numbers against this defense. That's how bad they are. But White just needs to do the simple things and they'll win this game. Ablab says, when do you think Zach comes back? I think it's an away game, Miami or Seattle. Miami's the last week of the year, so I don't think they would do that. I think either Buffalo or Detroit. I think White plays this one. I think he'll play against the Vikings, and depending on how he does in that one, I think he'll get potentially another one. But again, it's kind of dependent on how White plays also. So it's hard to give a definitive answer to this question. We don't know. If White plays well, it's going to be hard to take him out and put Zach back in. Why is everyone attacking MLF? I don't get it. Neither do I. Coin flip does not have us beating the Bears. Coin flip's overrated. This is true, Rob. He says, would anyone believe this headline? Preseason 6-4 Jets, 5-2 under Wilson will be benching him for Mike White. No, I don't think anyone would have knew this was going to happen. I don't think anybody knew that this was going to happen this year. It's crazy, but that's Jets football, man. Safe to say Zach's done here? Not by Robert Saleh's comments today. I don't think so. Hey, Matt, do you agree that with White starting, this allows Booth LaFleur to open up the Bengals offense? Rewatch the Bengals and Colts game. It was interesting to see the checkdowns and trick plays. No, I don't think it's going to be opened up. I think it's going to be a lot of checkdowns, kind of like what we saw against the Bengals last year. Michael Carter was heavily involved that day. I think it'll be a lot of underneath stuff. Rob D says, pick up James Robinson in fantasy if he's available. Got a feeling we're going to have a breakout game. Okay. What do you think Mike White needs to do over the next 3 games? He needs to win at least 2, in my opinion. I think it'll be hard for the Jets to go 2-1 over these next 3. I mean, the Vikings are a beatable team. They obviously beat Buffalo once already, but playing up there is a difficult task. I think Mike White, if he just does the little things and hits the open guys, doesn't turn the football over, then they should be okay. Unfortunately, with White, turnovers were a big issue with him. He had 8 picks in like 2.5 games last year. He played 4, I guess 3 games really. He played about a half against the Patriots, another half against the Colts, and he played against the Bengals, obviously, and the Bills. Hank G says, I doubt Zach is done here unless Mike White turns out to be a superstar who consistently plays well and wins. Other than that, Zach will get a chance until we'll bring in more quarterback competition. Yep, that's my feeling on it too. Hennessy was over. It told you on Monday Mike White was starting. There you go. Let's bring back Zach for the playoffs or at the cusp of the playoffs to blow it. Okay, I don't know what to do with this. Anthony says, I have a bad feeling that we lose to the Bears where Mike White shits the bed and our D and special teams play badly. Just a gut feeling. If that's the case, then they might maybe they do make that switch early. Who knows? Jack says, all hail the coin. Hennessy says, Mike White should have a good game Sunday, and then you have to start him again. Good warm-up game for Mike. This is, I mean, the Bears defense stinks, so I would think he puts up numbers. Luis says, I expect Mike White to do what he does well and give it to his playmakers to make plays. Simple concept. Why can't Zach do the same? Yeah, he's mentally not there, man. It's obvious that he's mentally not there right now. Let's see. I'm not defending Zach, but you guys are holding a 24-year-old feet to the fire, batting an eye. What WTF are the coaches telling him? There's open guys running. You can't do it. Hennessy says, I was defending Zach for a long time, but it looks like he wasn't progressing and was losing the locker room. Salah had to make this statement move. I think, I don't know, Hennessy, if you were in here earlier when I pulled the comments or for the video for Robert Salah, but I thought he handled it really well. And I have full faith in what Robert Salah and Joe Douglas are doing. So we'll see how long Mike White starts. We'll see how long this goes, and we'll see if it is that Zach Wilson's done or if Wilson comes out of this better. Whatever happens at the quarterback position, I'm confident that the Jets have a good GM and good head coach in place. Trevor Siemian versus Mike White. Who would have predicted this matchup with the Bears? It's crazy, man. Yeah, I don't expect to see Justin Fields in this one because, I mean, how could you put him out there at 3 with 3 wins with a banged up shoulder like that? It doesn't make any sense. Jets Unleashed said Salah 100% got my respect for doing this. Yeah, I'm with JK here. Please just no more Dan Feeney. Bad enough we had to watch McDermott earlier this year. Both are tough. Good luck in New England, McDermott. Do you think Zach will be on the sideline with a headset when his knee was hurt, he didn't seem dialed in the first 3 games with Flacco. Not sure if it was important or not, but hurt Dak was involved. Yeah, I do think that he's not gonna be, activated, so I think he will be on the sideline, um, during the game with, who knows if he has a headset on or what they wanna do there. Trevor Siemian revenge game, oh god. Rob D says over under 77.5 passing yards for White after the first quarter. Um, Probably pretty close. I think he will have probably somewhere around 240 for the game. Isn't Fields starting? If he's going to play with a separated shoulder, then he'll start, but I don't think he will. Who's your long shot quarterback starter for us next year if JD works his magic? I think Carr is the most semi-realistic long shot. I think Jimmy G makes a ton of sense because of his relationship with Salah and LaFleur. Um, yeah, I think Carr would be someone. Lamar's not realistic. He's not leaving. They're going to franchise tag him. Phil says, I think Matt O'Leary is worthy of some likes from the 328 in the chat. What do you think? Thank you for the support, Phil. Always appreciate it. Our defense is much better this year. Mike White can get us to the playoffs. We're not going to be down 21-3 like the Bills game. He won't be forced into doing anything. I think that's fair. Oh, thank you, Doug, for the super chat. Doug chimes in and says, if Simeon starts, score prediction. 23-6. I don't think it's going to be a good day for the Chicago Bears offense. I think the Jets score in the low to mid 20s. So I'll go 23-6. Yeah, Hennessy says Jimmy G makes too much sense. He's a free agent, and we are a quarterback away. And Sal loves his former players. It's true, and we've seen him play pretty well so far. I'll pull up his numbers for this year. Jimmy G, 4 touchdowns against Arizona on the season. He has 15 touchdowns to 4 picks in 9 starts, completing 67% of his passes. He's averaging 239 yards a game. When he's healthy, he's solid. VR says 49ers East. What kind of chemistry is Mike White going to have with our wide receivers? I mean, it might take a little bit, but he's gotten the second team reps for a while now. Over under 12 sacks versus Simeon. I think the Jets. I'll say the Jets sacked the quarterback 7 times on Sunday. G says if we can't score 30 against the Bears, we have larger problems. That defense is sorry. I don't think Mike White is a long-term solution, but who knows? I think he could be a long-term QB too, but it's going to be dependent on how he plays on Sunday and beyond. Oh, interesting question from Indiana. Says with White not practicing with the ones, you think him and Mims have built something? Maybe. Well, I mean, we'll get a good look on Sunday. He didn't look good. Mike White didn't look very good in the preseason, so it's really hard to get a read on on what he's going to be, especially chemistry wise with these wide receivers. And as Raw Power says, 49ers can't franchise tag him. So he will be available. He's just turned 31 years old. I just think that if there's too many connections here, Jimmy G is more than likely going to be a Jet next year. Mike White will win us a Super Bowl like Foles did in Philly. That'd be wild. Thank you, AGM. He says, Matt, I'm a Bears fan. I can confirm 30 points and 7 sacks should not be hard. Also, congrats on your full time. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you. Love the support. And look, Fields is playing really well for you guys right now. There's some issues on defense that need to get straightened out. You need to get some more playmakers on offense, but they're trending in the right direction. Yeah, this is what I'm saying too. Justin Fields has separated shoulder and partial ligament tears. I don't know how he was practicing. I would shut him down if I was in the Bears spot. I don't want to potentially hurt our franchise quarterback. Brian doesn't like me bringing up my interview with the J. Drew. I don't know where he could have gotten his information. Around being around the team 24/7 would be my guess. Kenneth says it is a mental/physical thing with Zach. He just needs to rest his brain. I hope that's all it takes. Hey, Matt, I was a little surprised. I thought they might give him one more chance, but I can't believe that when Salah told him what his response was. We went over that earlier, taken out of context. Tyson, I'm always ready. If we need you to suit up, I'll be ready to go. I'm ready, man. Throw it out there. Yep. Jay Drew is a BYU reporter and knows the program almost as much as Dick Harmon did. Thank you. Also, I did it with what's his name? I did it with I forget the Ohio State guy, but I think all this talk about RD is overblown. We have some issues to correct there. Too many 3rd and 16s. Their open field tackling could be a little bit better, but what else we got? Mike White won against the Super Bowl team. Yes, he did. Good memory. Hey, Matt, did you play organized football? I played middle school football. I played wide receiver. I was not very good. I played baseball really growing up. That was my sport. I played in high school. I was an outfielder. Alex T says, I wish Zach would have been the guy and made this year 2 jump. It'd make life a lot easier if that was the case. Jordan says, I'm glad that White is starting the game. Is the most faith I had in a Jets quarterback since Flacco in week 1. All right. Matt, look at the other playoff teams, upcoming games. Jets can easily get back to the 5th seed. Yeah, I mean, the Patriots still have incredibly tough games left on their schedule. They have the Vikings. They have the Bengals. See if I can pull up their remaining schedule. That's who's in front of the Jets, and they're going to need the Jets are going to need them to start losing some games. Minnesota, Buffalo, Arizona, and Las Vegas. They should take care of business. But then Cincy, Miami, Buffalo. The final 3 games are very tough. We'll see what they do this week against Minnesota on Thanksgiving. VR says, I was a tight end, but they turned me into a wide receiver. There you go. Thanks, Steven. Says, keep up the hard work, the great work, and I appreciate all your content. It's top notch. Ronnie says, Keyshawn said today that he heard from some Jet players thought Mike White was better during training camp. Thoughts? Possible. I guess obviously Zach hasn't looked great this year, and the White didn't look great in the preseason games. Flacco probably looked the best out of all the quarterbacks in the preseason games. Who knows? We'll get to see on Sunday and probably the next couple games if that's the case. Finally, that scrub Zach Wilson is sitting on the bench. There you go. Michael Double Hill is very happy. Anthony says, I think Zach will come back better. Good for him, and the team needs to figure out fundamentals like the Kurt Warner analysis. There we go. VR, thank you so much for the super chat. He's always in here hanging out. Says, everyone have a safe and enjoyable Thanksgiving. Yes, same to you and your friends and family as well. I guess Strevler. Yeah, sorry. Apologies, Strev. I meant of the three realistic options. I walk that back, Brian. That's my apology. I walk it back. Matthew Malloy says Mike White is 1-0 in the black jerseys. A good sign. There you go. Hey, Matt, do you think they'll have to change up the game plan a little bit for Mike White as compared to Zach Wilson? Maybe make it a little more aggressive or maybe even a little bit more conservative. I think they'll kind of just stick to what they've been doing. They want to run the ball, and there'll be a lot of checkdowns would be my guess. If Mike White throws for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, then he stays our starting quarterback. I think he will this week. I have a feeling White is going to ball out against the Bears and then get destroyed the next game. I think we're going to see a pretty solid quarterback play. I honestly, whoever started this game, whether it's Flacco, White, Wilson, I think against this Bears defense, any of them could have played well and put up some numbers. Minnesota and Buffalo back to back is going to be tough. Thank you for the invite, JK. I will not be around tomorrow, unfortunately. Appreciate it though. Jason says Mike White isn't vintage Aaron Rodgers. Hopefully, activate Strevler. Okay, there you go. Ooh, Matt, I love your stuff. Thank you. I keep up the good work. What do you think? Who do you think eats the most with the quarterback switch? This is going to be a weird answer, but Michael Carter, I think, is going to be very involved in the passing game. He was last year against Cincinnati, and I think he has a very good game in the receiving game. Rico the pup, what's up, dude? Says Justin Fields has separated non-throwing shoulder. Likely the backup plays. This is a must-win. I know what the coin flip says. The Jets got to win this game. Alex T says 7-5 going into Detroit isn't bad at all. Hopefully that's the case. Well, no, it would be the Jets are 6-4, and they have games against the Bears, the Vikings, and then the Bills. So there's another game. There's 3 games before Detroit. Why isn't LaFleur on the hot seat? Because guys are open. That's why guys are open. It's not his fault. Will we see more James Robinson? Can't stand to see Ty Johnson on the field. I hope so. I don't understand why Ty Johnson gets to be out there. Joe says 8 interceptions for a quarterback who wanted to be a pitcher isn't bad. He'll be much improved. Hopefully. I hope so. If he doesn't turn the ball over, they'll win. Simeon revenge game. That's funny. I'm just going to bet the coin flip until the result is wrong. Yeah, you might have to. Mr. Tibbs, they're going with the all black jerseys this week. It was already predetermined. And it's Darrelle Revis Day. So they get to honor your guy, Darrelle Revis. Gotta love it. Best Jet. Not named Joe Namath. Why is Mims not being looked at multiple drops this year in big moments? That's definitely a problem. He was limited today in practice, but they don't seem at all concerned. Sorry, for in the audio version. The question is, did Sauce practice in limited capacity today? Yes, he was limited today, but I think he'll be fine. Yep, all black this week, and then I believe against Jacksonville is the other time that they will be in all black this year. Raw wants the green jerseys. Yeah, we haven't seen them once. That's a little bizarre, right? That you haven't seen it at all yet this year. Oh, Ian Rappaport just tweeted an update on Justin Fields. Does not sound good for him. Let's see if I can pull that up. We close out with that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Bears quarterback Justin Fields describes his left shoulder injury as a separated shoulder with torn ligaments, basically an AC joint. It was described to me on Monday as dislocated that can cause torn ligaments. Fields far from 100% going forward with his status. You can't play him. Like if I'm the Bears, I don't know how you could possibly put him on the field and risk injuring yourself worse when you're 3-8. It doesn't make any sense. Raymond says, you know what's going to happen? Tom Brady is going to come here so he can get back in New England and he's going to ride off into the sunset with a championship. I would say slim, a slim chance. Yeah, G says Fields or no Fields, no excuse to win this one. No, the defense, even if Fields did play, I think the Jets defense is still going to keep them under 20 points and they'll win. I like this one from Jay. I feel like the green jerseys make it hard for the receivers to make receivers hard to spot with the green grass. There you go. Phil says Clemens eats shoulders for breakfast. There you go. Rico the Pup says same injury Baker had, just shut him down. He showed enough for next year, in my opinion. Get the guy some wide receivers on the line. Yeah, I don't understand how you could possibly run him out there with one, the offensive line that they have intact, and with this injury, it's not a good idea. 2 backups on Sunday. Tickets should be cheap. Yeah, if you want to go, check it out. Steven wants to see the 80s jersey. So do I. I love those 80s jerseys. I think they are awesome. Jason, very, very easy answer for you. He asked, anyone know why we let Connor McDermott get exposed and picked up by the Patriots? He sucks. That's why. He is terrible. He is not a good football player. That's why. So that's going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on a busy, newsworthy Wednesday. No show tomorrow on Thanksgiving. Enjoy your time with your family and friends. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. Once again, I am Matt O'Leary, and I'll talk to you next time.